All right, welcome to Head, a special round of digital press conferences ahead of British boxing's return. It all starts this Friday night at BT Sports Studio, and we've got an absolute cracker of a main event. On the left side of the screen is the reigning and defending British Super Bantamweight champion Brad Foster, and on the right side of the screen you have the two-weight Midlands area champion James Beech Jr. They're both undefeated. They're both with me today. Gents, how are we?
Fantastic.
Good, thanks.
Good. Brad, I'm going to come to you first. Now, you were on Frank Warren's last show before lockdown. Big win for you. And now you're on Frank Warren's first show after lockdown. You must be making quite an impression.
Yeah, well, I must be. I'm blessed to be in this situation. Obviously, with me fighting in February. And now fighting now, most fighters don't get that turnaround, obviously, without being in a pandemic, and I'm getting it while being in a pandemic. So, you know, I'm blessed to be in this situation. I'm going to make the most of it.
No, you're doing well. And James, up to this point in your career, you've been on small hall shows, you've been on dinner shows, you've worked up your record, 12-0 now. This is quite a big night for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive night for me. I've seen the opportunities Brad's getting, and like I say, I want a piece of that. So,
was it a case of as soon as that phone rang and they said, "Well, you got the chance, you know, BT Sport, first show back," but you just had to take it, didn't you?
Yeah, I was running up and down my living room. I was buzzing, to be honest.
In terms of preparation for this one, Brad, again, I'm going to come to you because during this lockdown, during this pandemic, I understand you've been a key worker. You've been doing your thing at Tesco as well, huh?
That's it, mate. I'm a key worker. If I don't work, you don't eat. Do you know what I mean? I've got to get the food out, you know. So yeah, I've been keeping busy working. I've been working nights and that. Yeah, just keeping busy while training.
And how have you balanced all of that? The Tesco and the runs and all of that you got to do.
I've been working nights. So I've been, you know, going to Tesco at night, working, getting the hours in. And then coming home, sleeping, then from then on it's just training, really.
And James, I know all I keep hearing about you is how dedicated you are, how you never miss a training session. I was reading up about you. Have you kept all of that going during lockdown? Have you had a few days off? There's been, you know, very few gym opportunities for you.
Yeah, during lockdown, like I say, I think everyone was in the same boat, just doing little runs and bits of bike and stuff. It was a bit boring, especially with no date, as I really one of them that can push myself 100% without a fight date. And then I think we got the phone call about 5-6 weeks ago, and it's the first time I've ever been a full-time professional boxer. So I've literally put in so much work for this fight. I've put in more work for this fight than I have any other fight. So I'll be the fittest I've ever been, I think.
And obviously when you got the call, as you said, you were running up and down the living room. I mean, how many miles are we looking at there?
I know, it's a good sized living room, to be fair. I mean, but yeah, it's just, like I say, it's a massive opportunity for me, and I can change my life if I get the win next Friday.
Now, Brad, obviously you're going to ensure from your end that he's not going to get the win on Friday. Let me just take you back to your last fight against Lucian Reid. The job that you did on him, and then the way you celebrated afterwards, the whole thing felt like you had a real point to prove.
Yeah, obviously, with the first fight, I knew I weren't at my best. There was a few things going on, but you know, in the second fight, I did have a point to prove, and I'm sure I proved that point in the second fight, and I did it in style, which I always knew I could do.
Did you watch that fight, James?
Yeah, I watched it live. Yeah, he looked really good that night. To be honest, he looked too strong for him.
And I understand actually that you sparred in the build-up to that fight.
Yeah, we only done a couple of rounds. It was just minor rounds, like 6. It might have been 2 6 rounds. It's just to help Brad out, really. His old man message peaked, so we're more than happy to help us.
Good work, Brad.
Yeah, good work. Obviously, he helped me out the sparring rounds. I did 6 with him, and then someone else jumped in. I did another 6 with them. I did that twice. Good rounds, good work. I know he's a good fighter, so I'm looking forward to getting in there next Friday and getting the job done.
And James, do you find yourself sort of taking notes as this is happening? You've obviously you watched his last fight against Lucian Reed, which you helped him prepare for. You sparred with him. Have you been looking at Brad as an opponent?
Not really. I was kind of looking at him as an opponent anyway, like just because obviously I wanted to box a super bantamweight, and he's had the British title now for like a year and a half, and it's something that you're always aiming towards. So you've always got an eye on people that are British champion and stuff like that. So I've always watched him and always wanted that fight. So.
Well, talk to me about the weight then, because you're a two-weight Midlands area champion. The two weights that you've won the title at are super featherweight and featherweight. You seem to be working your way down as you're getting older, whereas normally fighters work their way up in weight. You're now coming down to super bantam for a shot at Brad Foster. What's going on?
It's honestly, mate, it's just because, like I say, I've been on the smaller shows and I've just took the opportunities that have been given to me. I want to be in 50-50 fights. I want to be in proper fights, and I want to prove to everyone how good I am. So I'll just take any fight I get offered, and there I am.
So you're just sort of available across 3, 4, 5 weights, so whoever needs you, you can answer
yeah,
that. Yes.
I've always wanted to box at super bantamweight. That's always been my weight. I've wanted to make my career at, but obviously being on like the small shows, the Midlands area as well, there ain't many super bantamweights in the area. So you've just got to take what's offered to you, really.
And Brad, obviously this is a huge chance for you to win the British title outright. How much does that mean to you?
Massive means massive amounts. Obviously, before getting into boxing, this was one of my goals, and I've worked so hard to get to this position with the fights that I've worked really hard. Fighting top fighters to get here. So, I'm looking forward to getting in there and securing the belt and taking that belt home with me.
Question to both of you here. Now, British boxing fans have been starved. They've been starved of action. And now after months and months, I think the last show was mid-March, the first main event back is between you two. It's Brad Foster against James Beech Jr. Have you thought about that? Have you given that any sort of consideration, that this is actually quite big? There's going to be a bit of attention on this. Brad, I'll come to you first.
It's going to be a massive event, because people ain't seen that boxing. People ain't been able to watch that sport that they've wanted to watch. It's like football. Everyone was going mad when the football was back. It's going to be the same with the boxing, and I'm sure me and Beachy will put a great fight on for the fans watching at home. An exciting fight, and I just can't wait for it.
James, there's a lot of pressure with this as well, with all of that. This is a big step into the unknown for you, from those small halls, from those dinner shows. You're now live on BT Sport, but not just that, it's the first fight back. Are you feeling the pressure at all?
I wouldn't say more pressure. It's you buzz off the pressure, really. It's what makes you fight better. Knowing people are going to be watching, obviously you want to put on a better performance and stuff like that, but whether there was one person there or a million people watching you around the world, it ain't going to make too much difference. I don't think you want to win that fight, and the buzz you're going to have on fight night remains the same.
And what about this behind closed doors element to it? All I keep hearing from fighters is, it doesn't matter, a ring's a ring. It doesn't make any difference to me if there's no fans there. What's your thinking around that? How do you think you're going to get on fighting behind closed doors, James?
I think it'll just be like the amateur days, really. The best thing about having fans there and stuff is, like, obviously when you're a bit tired, they can push you on and stuff like that. Whereas, honestly, I don't really think I'll need pushing on for this, because it's a British and Commonwealth title fight, topping the bill on BT Sports. I'll have that in the top of my head all the way through this fight, thinking, come on, you got to push yourself whenever times get hard. And like I say, it's going to be a top fight, so I'm looking forward to it.
So that motivation is going to be there regardless of crowd. Brad, you've normally got quite a few fans there, and the York Hall fights that you've had with Lucian Reed have been quite the encounter, the rival fans going back and forth. How are you going to get on without fans? What do you think?
The job's still the same. the job is still to win the fight convincingly. So I get in there, I do my job. That's to win the fight. Whether there's 0 people there, whether there's thousands of people there, the job is still the same.
You've both said it's, job's going to be the same. James, you said it's going to be a bit like amateur fights. You've sparred before as well. You're not going to be too friendly, are you? You're not going to be tapping gloves at the end of the rounds. This is a big opportunity for you guys, live on BT Sport. How are you going to keep that menace about it?
Nah, he's going to try punch me head in, so I'm going to try punch his head in. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's all. We're there to do a job, end of the day, and honestly, for 36 minutes, you just got to put wherever aside, and we'll try and punch each other's head in. It is as simple as that.
Brad, you've boxed at a much higher level than James so far. You know, these British title fights that you've had, you could win the belt outright. Is that experience going to be the difference between yourself and James on Friday?
We'll see. I'm very confident that I'll win. I haven't shown my best yet. James is a hungry fighter. He's coming to win. But I'm very confident that I'll be the winner outright and still.
And James, from your perspective, I mean, you fought up as high as lightweight. Brad has been as low as super flyweight. Is the size going to be a factor?
It may in the later rounds, but honestly, for the first few rounds, I think it's just going to be more sharp, fast. And I think when we get into the fight properly and you start to sit down on your punches a bit more, it might take its toll. But Brad's a tough kid himself. He's got a few lads out of there at Super Bantamweight. We'll just have to see.
How do you see the fight playing out then? In your head, you must have visualised this.
Without giving too much away, I honestly think the first couple of rounds are going to be a bit close, very sharp, and then hopefully further down the stretch, my strength and fighting, my better fighting technique and stuff will come out and it'll take over.
Brad, what do you reckon?
We'll see, won't we? We will see.
Tell me this, James. If you look at Brad Foster's his box rec, his CV, his resume, do you see anyone on there, names like Lucian Reed, Ash Lane, do you see anyone on there that you think you wouldn't beat?
No, honestly, we was a bit gutted when we beat Ashley Lane because we wanted that for the Commonwealth as well, because it was a very comfortable fight. I thought at the time without putting down Ashley Lane, but I think I beat everyone else on there as well.
So if you fought the same people, you'd have exactly the same record. That's your take on it, James, huh?
Yeah, that's my take on it.
Do you agree, Brad? How do you think James would get on against Lucian Reed, Ash Lane?
That's irrelevant. You know, he's coming to fight me now. I've beat all them boys. He's got to try to take what I've got. He's very confident at trying to take what I've got, but we'll see when we get in there. As I said, I've got a job to do, and that's to keep that belt, and I'm very confident of doing that.
Have you got one eye on the bigger picture at all, Brad? Obviously, this is you're working up quite a record. You've got a lot of momentum. It won't be long before you start getting ranked by the governing bodies. Do you keep an eye on what's going on at the top of the division?
I've got both eyes on 10th of July. That's my main goal. 10th of July, get the win there, and then we can have a look at what else is out there. But the main goal is to win 10th of July.
James Beech, you said that a win for you will mean so much for you and your family. Try and put that into words for me.
Well, it's just I've been boxing all my life, really, and I know how hard it is to win a British title, and it's a British and Commonwealth title. So it's just what dreams are made of, really.
The first ever digital face-off. Queensberry Promotions. Oh! Don't get too close, gents. We don't want any cuts. We want this fight to go ahead on Friday. Stern from James Beech. Look at that. All right. Come on. That's enough. All right, back to me. Gents, thanks very much for joining me today. Good luck to both of you, and congratulations on being the main event for British boxing's big return. I'll see you on Friday night.
Top man, I'll catch you all later.